Hello, what's going on Facebook? So I am back for another session to teach you guys some different ideas, some different things that you can do to improve your health. So tonight we're going to talk about the brain-gut connection and how you can improve your digestion and also your brain function without taking any meds. So just while we wait for a few minutes for people to get on, I'd love to hear where you're from, so go ahead, type in chat, let me know where you're from, and just a quick intro because every week I do these, I see some new people on here that I haven't interacted with before. So my name's Nathan Walls, and I work with people to help people take control of their health, and my real focus is on helping people increase their energy and also to optimize their brain function. So that's just a quick intro, but I want to say hello to Anne, Janelle, Cindy, Tom from the UK, Joseph, Dave Yablonsky, Schmo Joe, and let's see, Anne is from Texas. Awesome. Hey, well, great to have you guys on the call. Thanks for joining me. It's the screen's a little bit grainy. I apologize for that, but it's getting darker earlier now. And when the sun goes down, I keep my lights kind of dim. So the content is not going to change, but hopefully you can bear with a little bit of a grainy picture, a little bit of a darker picture. Joseph, you're very welcome. Glad to have you on the call. Dave, awesome to have you on the call. So let's jump right into it. But tonight I'm going to talk about, hello, Jackie, great to have you on the call. But tonight I'm going to talk about the brain-gut connection. And the two are intimately connected. And what's really interesting is if you have a brain disorder and you go to a neurologist, they'll only look at your brain. They'll only ask you questions about your brain. Probably 95% of neurologists won't ask you anything about your gut. And the opposite is also true. If you go to a gastroenterologist because you're having gut issues, they'll only ask you about your gut. They won't ask you about your brain. And if you look at any kind of medical textbook on physiology, they'll have a section on your brain, your heart, your digestive system, but they don't talk about the connection between all of them. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So if you have gut issues yourself, or if you know anybody that has chronic gut issues, if they're always popping, Tums, or Zantac or Prilosec, go ahead and tag them or share this with them so they can benefit from this information too. But for me personally, I used to pop Zantac all the time, kind of like they were candy. It became almost a daily thing for me because every time I ate, my stomach was in knots. I found myself running to the bathroom a lot, just really bad indigestion. So has anybody ever dealt with that before? And the thing is, Zantac worked great for me, and that's why I kept on taking it. I had great results, but the problem with taking something like Zantac is you never address the underlying symptom. So I had a digestive issue. I never addressed that by taking Zantac. And before I took Zantac, I took Tums because I had some acid issues, and that didn't work either. So tonight what I'm going to share is how you can fix those different issues without popping these medications. And even, a lot of people will take enzymes and they think, hey, I'm super healthy. I take enzymes every day. And digestive enzymes are okay for a short-term solution, but it's not a good idea for a long-term approach because the reason you're taking enzymes is because your own body is not producing its own digestive enzymes, or they're not being released into your stomach. So ideally, you want to get to the point where your stomach, your digestive system is doing all the work for you, and you don't have to take pills, you don't have to take supplements for it to work. So let's get into it. One of the best ways to determine if you have a brain-gut issue is your motility or lack thereof. So what is motility? Motility is your body's ability to move food through the system. So you eat food, it goes from your mouth, down your throat, into your stomach, and then from your stomach, it goes through your digestive tract, into your colon, out the other end. So 2 indicators that you have poor motility is A, the only time you can go number 2 is after you have a cup of coffee, or B, you have to take a laxative to have a consistent bowel movement. So those are the 2 leading indicators right there. And what happens over time, or what we know from a lot of the modern research, is that is due to a poor brain-gut connection. So your brain actually fires your vagus nerve, which sends a signal to your gut to start moving food through your gut. And when I say gut tonight, I'm not talking about your big belly, if you have a big belly. I'm talking about your whole digestive tract. I'm just going to say gut because it's easier to say. So got some new folks that hopped on. Hey, what's up? Roel, Linda, Shane, Miles, David, Jamie, and Adriana. Welcome to the call. But so just talking about motility, and the number one way to know that you have a poor brain-gut connection is through poor motility, not being able to move your food through your digestive tract. So some other symptoms are chronic indigestion. So if every time you eat, you have indigestion, that's another symptom of a poor brain-gut connection. Bloating or gas. So if you always have that kind of super full feeling after you eat, or you have a lot of gas, you're always like clearing the room, that's another sign that you have poor brain-gut connection. And what happens is when you lose that connection, you don't get the signal from your brain to your gut to release digestive enzymes, to release hydrochloric acid, to release bile. So if you eat a fatty meal, for example, your gallbladder releases bile to break that down. If you eat like a starchy or like a big salad or something that has a lot of fiber in it, your brain sends a signal to your gut to release digestive enzymes to break that down. If you eat a big steak or something, your brain sends a message to your gut to release hydrochloric acid. So a lot of people that have acid reflux, they think it's because they have too much acid. And a lot of doctors today will tell you, you have acid reflux because you have too much acid, so take Tums to reduce your acid. And acid reflux is actually caused by too little acid. So when you don't have enough acid, you can't break down protein. When you can't break down your foods, you can't get the nutrients that you need. So essentially, when you have poor gut function, you are almost becoming malnourished because your body doesn't have the ability to break down your foods. When you don't break down the foods, you can't get the different nutrients out of those foods. So this can lead to a lot of issues. And in addition to, your gut being off, your brain is also off too, because it turns out 95% of your serotonin is made in your gut. So when your gut is not functioning properly, you have low serotonin. What else is super high in this country? Depression. So depression is not because people are super sad about stuff. It's not an emotional thing. 95% of the time, depression is due to an imbalance of neurotransmitters, one of those neurotransmitters being serotonin. So when you have low serotonin, you are going to have depression. So all this stuff is tied together. So is this making sense, guys? If it's making sense, give me a yes in the chat. And if you have any questions, let me know. So I'll pause for a second just in case anyone has any questions. Okay, good. So we're on track. And something else, so another thing when you have a brain gut issue is changing your diet doesn't do you any good. So if you've tried different diets and you still have digestive issues, if you take different supplements, so for example, if you take digestive enzymes and everything's good and then you stop taking them, that is an indication of a brain gut issue. If you've tried all different diets and nothing works, that is an indication of a brain gut issue. Hold on, Joe Schmo or Schmo Joe is saying, used to eat typical junk diet and was put on acid reflux meds. Eventually change to a whole food diet and don't have those issues anymore. Awesome, Joe. That's great. And Jamie commented that 50% of your dopamine is made in your gut too. Yeah, very good point. What else is really high in this country? Addiction rates. So when you have low dopamine, you tend to have addiction. You tend to not be motivated. You spend all your day on Facebook, watching silly cat videos, not educational stuff like this. But anyway, so I'm going to share with you 3 things that you can do to fix this brain-gut connection. The first thing is to gargle. So what you want to do is you want to take a glass of water. I'm not actually going to gargle because I don't have a sink right here. But you want to get a pretty good-sized glass of water. You want to take a sip of water, and you want to gargle as hard as you can. And you want to kind of get to the point. I want you to look at this like you're doing a workout for your vagus nerve, because these 3 exercises or techniques that I'm sharing with you are all designed to strengthen your vagus nerve, which strengthens your brain-gut connection. So you take a glass of water, you take a sip, you gargle as hard as you can. You want to actually gargle so hard that your eyes are tearing. And when I was dealing with my gut issues, when I first tried to do this, I could barely gargle just because I had such a poor brain-gut connection. I would take a sip of water, I would go to gargle, and I would just kind of like almost vomit it all out. My gag reflex was so strong. But I eventually got to the point where I could easily gargle water, but you want to gargle a full glass of water like 4, 5, 6 times a day. And you've got to do this for several weeks. And I want you to think about, if you start going to the gym, you do one workout, how big are your muscles going to be from one workout? So this is the same concept. You're going to have to do it for a period of time to really kind of rebuild that connection, to build up that muscle. So gargle with water, do a full glass of water 4, 5, 6 times a day, and do it for a minimum of 2, maybe 3 weeks. Everybody's different. If you have a pretty decent connection, you don't have to do it that long, but what you can do is you can do, kind of vagal maintenance. Maybe do it just kind of once a week until you get everything back on track and flowing really well. So that's number 1, gargling water. You're gargling to the point where your eyes are tearing up. At first, it's going to be uncomfortable. After you do it a couple times, it gets pretty easy. The next thing is you're going to gag yourself. And this sounds kind of weird, but what you're going to do is get some tongue blades. So tongue blades are the things the doctors stick in your mouth and they make you say, ah. One of the things they're doing is they're checking. Doctors, I don't think, do it as much anymore because my doctor doesn't do it anymore, but when I was a kid, they did it. So when you say, ah, you get this kind of like punching bag thing in your throat and it should raise up. That's an indication that you have good vagal function. If it doesn't raise up, that's an indication that you have poor vagal function. So get one of these tongue blades. It looks like kind of a big popsicle stick. You can order it from Amazon, or you can go to like a CVS. And what you want to do is just kind of press down on the back of your tongue. You don't want to jab your throat. Just press down on the back of your thumb and do that, press down 5, 10 times, and then do that 5, 6, 7 times a day, and do that for several weeks.
Hey, real quick, thanks so much for checking out my video, and I hope you're getting lots of value and learning some cool stuff. If you're having challenges with your health, I can help. The main thing I help my clients with is improving their energy at the cellular level. So I'm talking about your mitochondria. And what we know from the latest research is that 85 to 90% of all disease is caused by poor mitochondrial function. So when you fix your mitochondria, you improve your energy and everything gets better. If this is something that you'd like help with, there's a link to my calendar in the description below. Go ahead, you can schedule time for us to talk, and if it looks like we're a good fit, I'll tell you about my program, and if it's something you want to do, we can start working together. I look forward to meeting you, and now, back to the video.
Okay, so that's number 2, is you're gagging yourself. Number 3 is to sing loudly. So if you have a great voice, everyone's going to love this. Got a comment from Jamie. What about humming? I have not heard of that, Jamie. So I don't know if humming is going to be enough to really kind of make it work. Joe says he changed to organic grass-fed foods, cut out processed foods. Yeah, that's awesome, Joseph. Congratulations. That makes a huge difference too. However, if you have a broken brain-gut connection, making that change, you can still have problems. So this is to kind of fix a broken brain-gut connection. Joseph also says they make metal scrapers for the tongue. Yeah, that's good for oral hygiene. Jamie says using a toothbrush. Yeah, you could use your toothbrush too if you don't want to get the tongue blade. The toothbrush would work as long as the bristles aren't kind of brushing the back of your throat. But yeah, it's great. I love it. You guys are getting creative, getting innovative. So yeah, that's one way to do it too. So the third thing is to sing loudly. So you can either sing in the shower, but you really have to sing loudly. If you have a horrible voice and you're driving your family up the wall, then sing in your car when you're alone. So these are three different things that you can try. There are other things. These are kind of the three top things. In addition to that, you want to be doing vagal maintenance, because your vagus nerve, not only does it connect from your brain to your gut, it connects to all of your organs. So when you have kind of like the onset of neurodegeneration, you get less brain firing in your brainstem, you get less activation of your vagus nerve, and kind of like if you ever broken a bone and they put a cast on you and they take the cast off, like your muscles have atrophied, and your arm, I've broken quite a few bones, so I know this, but the muscles in your arm will reduce quite a bit. And that's the same thing with your vagus nerve. If it's not used for a while, it atrophies. It takes some time to build up. These are some things you can do to kind of maintain your vagal health. So the first thing is you can watch the sunrise and the sunset. And you need to do that without your glasses on. So when you watch the sunrise or the sunset, the sun is not too bright, so you can actually look at the sun, and light has momentum, so it actually has a weight. And it actually, when it hits your eyes, it activates your vagus nerve. Another option is to lightly rub your eyes. So you don't want to press real hard, but this actually stimulates your vagus nerve too. Much better to look at the sunrise and sunset, because that's also resetting your circadian rhythm, has a lot of other benefits. The sound of a waterfall. So if you have a place where you can go for a walk where there's running water, there's a waterfall, there's a fountain, that also stimulates your vagus nerve. You can also buy an in-home waterfall. So I have a little mini waterfall in my office. I don't have it on now because it kind of affects the recording, but when I'm just doing work in my office, I have the waterfall on. It's very, very soothing. It activates my vagus nerve, has a lot of good benefits. Meditation is also very good to stimulate your vagus nerve. Exercise is great. So everybody, should be doing some form of exercise. Doesn't have to be in the gym. Just going for a walk is very good. And what else is good to stimulate the vagus nerve? Cold water face dunks. So I know some of you on this talk tonight are doing that challenge or have done that challenge in the past with other people. If you're not doing that, I just started a challenge last week. If you meant to do it and you forgot, or if you didn't hear about it, check it out. It's literally life-changing. If anybody wants to, no, not splashing water in your face, Jamie. I'm talking about getting a bowl of ice water and holding your breath, submerging your face of water in there. Go to my Journey to Optimal Health Facebook page. I've got videos on there. Last week in my Facebook Live, I had a very special guest, good friend of mine, Ryan Gavlik, and Ryan shared the benefits that he's been receiving from doing this practice. And he's also shared the benefits that people in his network, his family, his friends, people that follow him on Facebook, they've just had some amazing, outstanding benefits. So I know Joseph is on here. I know that he was doing it, but it's literally life-changing. It affects everyone differently. It's kind of like, I'm not sure if you guys know what's the Adaptogenic herbs. So adaptogenic herbs help you where you need help. So for example, if you take an adaptogenic herb and you are kind of dragging, it gives you more energy. If you have a lot of stress, it reduces your stress. So doing this cold water therapy, these ice bath dunks with your face, has an adaptogenic effect. Wherever you need the help, it gives you that help. So another benefit I didn't mention when I was talking about it before is it stimulates your vagus nerve. So let me just look at my notes here, see if I missed anything. But yeah, you know, just one other thing I want to mention. Gut degeneration causes neurodegeneration, and neurodegeneration causes gut degeneration. So the two are intimately connected. If you have gut issues, at some point it's going to cause brain issues. If you have brain issues, at some point it's going to cause gut issues. So I mentioned before depression, but if you have brain fog, if you have a hard time focusing, if you find it hard to concentrate for long periods of time, those are early signs of neurodegeneration. And I don't want to scare you, but if you look at the statistics out there, one of the fastest growing segments of disease in this country is neurodegeneration. So dementia, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, it's showing up in higher rates in kids in autism. These are all neurodegeneration. It's exploding. Some of the new data suggest it's the third leading cause of death in the US. And a lot of the neurologists that I follow think it's going to be the #1 cause of death within the next 5-10 years. So it's a really big deal. These are some simple strategies that you can do to head this off. But if you have any of those symptoms that I mentioned, depression, lack of focus, poor concentration, brain fog, fatigue, these are all potential early signs of neurodegeneration. I'll look into it, do something to fix it. So let's see, Jamie mentioned yoga. Yoga, yeah, very good for vagal stimulation. Something else your vagus nerve does is when you activate your vagus nerve, you are activating your parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest. So you have two sides to your nervous system. You have sympathetic, which is fight or flight. So when you get stressed, that activates. Then you have your parasympathetic. So when you do meditation, when you do yoga, when you do exercise, when you practice mindfulness, you're activating your parasympathetic nervous system. When you eat, you also want your parasympathetic nervous system to activate, because what does that do? It increases blood flow to your gut. So that serves two purposes. It repairs your gut, and it also takes nutrients from your gut that your gut breaks down from your food. Let's see. What breaks down proper function of the vagus nerve? Joseph asks. Inflammation. So when you have high amounts of inflammation, so if you have inflammation in your gut, so you mentioned before, Joseph, that you used to eat not the best diet. Now you do eat a good diet. When you eat an inflammatory diet, junk food, gluten, lots of sugar, that causes inflammation in your gut. That can cause a poor brain-gut axis. You can have a traumatic brain injury. So if you get a concussion, that can do the same thing. They did some research when they looked at NFL players. A lot of NFL football players have leaky gut, and they have a very poor brain-gut axis. I'm sure a lot of them have motility issues. Probably very few NFL medical doctors even know about this brain-gut connection, but there's a lot of research out there that a concussion causes leaky gut, affects vagal function. So let's see what else. IBS, yeah, direct connection between poor vagal function and IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. Anxiety too. So all these neurotransmitters are made in your gut. How do they get to your brain, your vagus nerve? All this stuff is connected. So it's one of the most important things you can do is to take care of and to heal this brain-gut connection. Jamie asks, is the vagus nerve in the parasympathetic nervous system? It's part of it. So the vagus nerve activates your parasympathetic nervous system. So when you have poor vagal function, you're not activating your parasympathetic nervous system as much, and this means you don't deal with stress as well. Okay, so hopefully I answered all your questions. If you have any other questions, type them in real quick. If you're watching the replay, type in your questions too, because I do come back and I do answer these questions after the fact. But if you would like some help taking control of your health, if you've been struggling, if you've been trying different things and they just haven't worked, give me a call. Reach out to me on IM. My main focus, the thing I specialize in is helping people increase their energy and optimize brain function. I'm also very good at helping people reverse autoimmune and chronic disease as well. So reach out to me if you need some help, and we'll see if we're a good fit. If I can help you, I will let you know. If not, I'll do my best to recommend you to somebody that can help you. So thanks everyone for joining me tonight. Love having you guys on this call. A lot of good questions. Tag your friends who this can help. Share this with your network, and I will see everyone next week. I'm not sure what next week's call is going to be yet. If you have any things that you would like to hear, any topics, let me know. I may do a continuation of this because tonight's focus was really on the brain-gut connection. I may just kind of talk about some other kind of food-based things you can do to improve gut function. Maybe I'll talk about leaky gut, because leaky gut is actually, it's kind of a good topic to go into after brain-gut connection, because something else that can cause a leaky gut besides a poor diet is a bad brain-gut connection. So that can also cause a leaky gut. Getting a concussion, like I just mentioned, also does that. So I'm going to stop rambling. Thanks, and I will see you guys soon. Oh, and don't forget, if you did not take part in the challenge and you meant to, go ahead and start the challenge either right now after this call or first thing tomorrow morning. Go to my Journey to Optimal Health page. You can see all the videos on how to do that. But people are having amazing results. I'm getting a ton of great feedback. And people are really surprising themselves that they're actually getting themselves to do it. So I'll see you guys soon. Have a great night. And thanks again.